So stuff like this makes me believe that we are closer and closer to Ilia Topuria fighting Charles Oliveira. Ilia was asked, I think somewhere in Spain, about Charles Oliveira making comments about him. And Ilia says that, oh, I take him on a walk, I talk about culture to him, all this other shit, whatever it is, whatever. Ilia, it's kind of the same stuff Ilia says. Is like, I'm the father of the division. He's basically saying, insulting things back at Charles to try and draw Charles out. And I've always liked Ilya's trash talk, although a lot of it may be in broken English. He still is a hell of a trash talker. He really is. Even in Spanish, this guy knows how to draw his opponents out, or at least make them say something back. He even made Max Holloway a little bit. He even brought Max Holloway a little bit out of character in one of his interviews. So I think this is going to help in trying to get Charles Oliveira interested in a fight against him. Because Charles right now is more so eyeing the title. And again, me personally, I don't get that because Charles lost to Arman Tsarukyan. And because Charles lost to Arman, he has lost the right to immediately challenging Islam for a title shot. He needs another win before he can do that. And a win against Ilya would most definitely earn Charles a title shot against Islam Makhachev. Hell, I'd give Charles the title if he was to beat Ilya in the first place. He wouldn't even have to fight Islam, just because beating Ilya is such a crazy feat to do. But yeah, I think what Ilya said, in this interview or seminar or event or whatever the fuck it was, what Ilya said is helping. It's going to help bring Charles out and make Charles want to fight Ilya. Charles is not much of a arrogant guy or ego guy, but he is a big honor type of guy. And I'm sure somebody will have to be straight up with him soon and tell him, hey, you need another win before you can fight Islam, and a win against Ilya will definitely get you that Islam fight. Will Charles beat Ilya? Look, I love Charles. I'm one of the biggest Charles Oliveira fans. You can probably tell if you've seen my TikTok lives where I box in his fight shorts, his fight kit that I bought. That being said, Ilya is going to knock Charles out. Charles has been dropped by, lesser fighters. Ilya is going to knock Charles out. Charles has great boxing. He does have great boxing. I'm not saying Charles is a shit boxer. Charles even has excellent jiu-jitsu, one of the best jiu-jitsu skill sets in the entire organization. Ilya started his fighting career with ground game. Ilya knows how to grapple and grapple well. He's going to be ready for Charles' jiu-jitsu. Charles needs to be ready for Ilya's power. That's really it. The boxing is equally good. Charles, not equally good. I would even say Ilya's got a notch up on Charles Oliveira with the boxing as well. But both guys are above decent boxers. Both of them are great boxers. I still would consider Charles to be a great boxer, even though I would say Ilya's boxing is a bit better than Charles. But on top of the boxing skill sets and technique, power has to be considered. And I would say there is a power disparity between Charles and Ilya in favor of Ilya. Ilya has monster power. He is still, quite frankly, the mini Ngannou, the mini non-black Ngannou. I mean, the power on him is crazy. I don't know what he's doing, what he's been doing. That in-house Spanish gym he's been training in, it's really given him some heavy hands. And, hands like those are going to clip Charles in the pocket. They're not, like I said, lesser fighters than Ilya have dropped Charles. If Ilya connects clean, Ilya will not drop Charles. He will sleep Charles. Charles will go to sleep, okay? It's going to be a nightmare scenario for a lot of Charles fans. It will be for myself. I'm saying this not even as an Ilya fan. I'm not a fan of Ilia Topuria. I'm not at all. I'll never be. I will never be a fan of Ilia Topuria. You want to know why? Because Ilya knocked out Volk. And he did Volk in such a fucking dirty way. I'm never being an Ilya fan. I still have nightmares about that fight, okay? That being said, I respect Ilya. I see the meteoric rise he's on. I mean, Charles Oliveira is not stopping him. Only two fighters at lightweight that can possibly stop Ilya, and I'll keep saying this until Ilya fights them, is Arman Tsarukyan and Islam Makhachev. Arman, I think, is skillful enough to avoid the power of Ilya. At least, he'll be able to evade more. He'll be able to evade more than 4 shots. I think, like I preach a lot. If Ilya connects on a fighter more than 4 times, that fighter is most likely going to sleep. But I think Arman is going to be able to, kind of only get hit cleanly maybe once or twice. Arman has really, really, really high world-class striking. And on top of that, Arman is very, very, very strong and competitive on the ground, which is going to give Ilya a tough time. He would give Ilya a tough time. I'm not saying Arman would easily win. I'm not even saying Arman would win. I'm saying that Arman has the best chance out of every other lightweight except for Islam Makhachev. I think Islam Makhachev, I would say Islam wins. I would say I need to think about, a fight between Arman and Ilya before I would say Arman wins, but I would say outside of Islam Makhachev, Arman has the best chance out of any current UFC lightweight to beat Ilya Topuria. That's what I would argue. Outside of Islam, Islam has the best chance out of anybody, and it's just because of the kicking. And I preach the kicking and about how powerful a lengthy kicker could be against Ilya Topuria. But yeah, Ilya is going to put Charles to sleep. I hope this fight happens. I don't know if it will, because Charles, again, he's just got this odd mindset that's just mainly focused on the title, despite him not having solid claim to a title shot. But if the UFC could get involved, if even guys close to Charles can get involved and tell Charles he needs a convincing win, a strong convincing win to get back to a title shot with Islam, maybe Charles will finally listen and sign a contract in agreement to a fight between him and Ilya. Because Charles Oliveira versus Ilya Topuria would put a lot of asses in seats, first of all. Second of all, I just think I wouldn't say it's Charles's best shot at a title shot, because Charles could fight, Dustin Poirier, who I would consider to be less of a threat than Ilya. But the Ilya fight is just a big opportunity for Charles. I wouldn't say it's the smartest way for Charles to get a title shot, but it is still a clear, glaring, blatant, big opportunity for Charles Oliveira to get a title shot. The one that he's been wanting for some time now. Because he lost to Arman, and he's got to do something big to get back to Ilya, to get back to Islam. And, that big thing to get him back to Islam would be beating Ilya Topuria, which I do not think is going to happen, because Ilya is just, he's going to find Charles's chin. He's going to find Charles's chin, and a lot of Charles Oliveira fans, including myself, will have to sit in a corner of their bedroom and stare at that corner for a solid 30 minutes without any sound or light or anything. But overall, you let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn the notifications on. Most importantly, turn the notifications on, because YouTube likes to fuck with my viewership. So stay in the loop, stay involved, and stay up to date. Turning the notifications on will allow you to be notified about my next video coming out immediately. Overall, I love you guys. I'll see you all in the next.